Hi guys, this is Kayla.
And this is Becky with a couple of these read.
And we also write. And I have recently been sticking my toe in the waters of indie publishing. As you know from previous videos, I did win a Claymore Award.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, I've been kind of looking at publishers myself. And I have news that I can't share on that. So instead, what I'm going to share are questions for if you get that call with a publisher.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, if you are to a point where you want to find an independent publisher, maybe you don't want to use an agent, you need to find reputable publishers.
Yeah.
A great website for mystery and thriller writers, Mystery Writers of America, they have a list of approved publishers that you can go through and see which ones, accept unagented queries. I strongly suggest doing that just because there are a lot of scammers out there.
Right.
And you also need to be prepared and equipped with a good list of questions for that publisher or editor that you're speaking to. Now, a good publisher is probably going to answer all the questions before you can even open your mouth.
True.
But there are always other things that you want to check before you sign a deal or anything like that. Let's see. Oh, also, a lot of these questions I got from a friend on Facebook, who I'm in a group on Facebook called Unsubmission, and I was asking, what kind of questions do you ask a publisher? And she sent me a lot of these questions. I got more questions for Sisters in Crime, Sisters in Crime and Guppies.
Oh yeah.
Answered a lot
If you're a mystery writer, and you don't belong to Sisters in Crime, you should.
Yeah, because it's not just for women; it's for dudes as well. But they're incredibly cheap compared to most other writer groups.
Plus, they're very helpful.
They are very helpful
and very supportive.
Helpful and supportive. And if you're not a mystery writer, there are other groups out there. You need to be a member of some sort of writing group, if for no other reason than it looks good in a query letter. But honestly, you're gonna get help. You're gonna have people there who've been through what you've been through, and it's all online. So for those of us socially anxious types who maybe have trouble making friends in person, this is a great way to do it. That said, on to the questions.
Right.
So I kind of separated my questions into just general questions, distribution questions, editing questions, and I'm not going to read off this whole list, but I am going to attach a link to a PDF in case you want to see the list for yourself. Some of the more important questions, like, what can you tell me about your history and record as a publisher? Can I be put in touch with previous authors? Clients for reference? What are the company's long-term goals as a publisher? What do they imagine happening in the next 5 to 10 years? And this is one they're probably going to tell you,
right? Like
before you get the chance to ask, but it is a big question to ask if they don't tell you, because if they don't tell you, something fishy might be going on.
Yeah, you want to be sure that the publisher has a growth plan.
Yes.
And has it kind of mapped out for you. A friend that I know, he's a writer, and T.W. Robinson, and he actually wrote a book about indie publishing, and he is on Facebook, and he shares everything for free, and you can buy the book it's $2.99 on Amazon, but he has done a lot of research, and he gets into what they call the vanity presses.
Vanity presses will charge you to publish.
Yes, and that's basically what it is there. And he tells you ways that you could do the same thing that a vanity press would do at a much cheaper cost. So, that's a good resource. But if you want, these indie publishers, sometimes they're called boutique publishers because they're smaller. They're not one of the big four. But you can be very successful in one of the smaller indie publishers, especially if they have a good reputation.
Exactly. So that's why you want to ask that question. You want to figure out how many books they publish a year. Big important question, the percentage of royalties. A lot of indie presses don't pay in advance. So royalties are going to be an important kind of
how you can get paid for your work.
Yeah.
Right.
And also, ask, are royalties negotiable? Now, you may ask for the percentage, and the percentage sounds great, so you don't need to ask the second part. Let's see. So, one question you might want to ask, what is your process if the book does not sell as well as anticipated? Is there a clause for remainders or anything? Because some publishers will make you pay for the books that don't sell.
Yeah, it's called a buyback clause. So
Yes.
you want to be sure and look that if it doesn't, let's say they've put out 5,000 books for you and 4,000 have sold and 1,000 have not, are you going to have to buy back that 1,000 books? Or, so you want to be sure if there's a buyback clause in there or not.
And you want to ask about copyright, and you want to ask how large print runs will be, and if it's a print on demand type process, like are they going to print based on pre-sales, or do they have an algorithm they follow?
And is there a point at which your novel would be out of print?
Yes.
And you don't ever want your novel to be out of print.
Exactly.
Not be able to get it.
Other questions, like you might want to ask about, do you envision a title change, cover design, audiobook, narrator? Like, do I get a say in any of this? Because ultimately you want a publisher that's going to give you a say in all of it. Now, I am not an artiste, so I don't plan to sit down and design my own cover or anything like that, because if I did, it would look like, I don't know, something from Scooby-Doo, probably. And not in a good way. Like the old Scooby-Doo where they forget to fill in the eye color.
Stick figures on it or something. Yeah.
But you still want to say, if they give you the cover back and you're not so sure, that's definitely
even if you're
something
not an artist, you, in your mind, you've developed these characters and this novel, the setting, the plot. You know what it looks like in your mind, and you want it. It doesn't have to. Final note doesn't have to look exactly like that, but does it have some hint of that?
Yes.
That conveys the message of the book.
And next, you definitely want to ask about editors. Will there be a developmental editor? Copy editing? Kind of, will you get a say when it comes to editorial demands? You will want to ask if there's any big changes they foresee, because sometimes there are. You can ask about sensitivity readers as well, especially if your book is something that maybe you feel like, hey, I need a sensitivity reader. Maybe there's a character in there that you are not the same nationality as them. You want to make sure that they're displayed in a way that's not a stereotype.
Right.
So that could be something you asked as well. Ask about their distribution. Who do they distribute their books through? Because you want to know if your book is going to be, at Barnes & Noble or wherever you shop for books. One big thing that I've learned actually from Sisters in Crime, and they added this question, will your book be available in libraries? Because not all publishers do that. Not all publishers pitch books to libraries. You want to find out if it's going to be on the Libby app. And a lot of authors have to contact their libraries themselves to ask if the book will be held. And I know that maybe it doesn't seem like it's a big deal to be in a library, but let's say you go to the library, you pick up a book, and no, it's free. You're not going to get money from that, but the person picks up the book, reads it, and then goes back and wants to read all of your other books. That's happened. I've found some of my favorite authors in the libraries and gone and bought all their books after.
Another thing I found, I read an article about. It does help you because they keep a record of how many times your book has been checked out.
Yes.
And they relay that to your publisher, which can help with, future.
Yeah, keeping that publisher.
That's right.
So, let's see.
Marketing.
You want to talk about production, marketing, and things like that, because some publishers do it, some say it's all on you, which neither is a bad thing. But if you're even marginally considering indie publishing, you need to have a platform. It doesn't have to be like something you hate. It doesn't, like, just like we do a book blog. We make these videos, we have a blog, and over the years we've built up a little bit of an audience. Well, stuff like that, that's going to help you with marketing. Let me see. You want to know who your contact person in their marketing department is going to be if marketing is something they offer, because that's the person you're going to want to contact. Also, make sure that what you're going to be doing to market your book, because whether they have a marketing process or not, you need to be marketing your own book. Make sure that what you're going to be doing is going to be allowed, like interviews, podcasts, setting up your own book tour if you need to, things like that. So like I said, there are a lot of questions on here. I'm not going to go through every single one of them. There's 33 of them, but I am going to give a link if you want to check out that Google Doc. Some of these could also be used for questions to an agent, not all of them, or even questions if you and your agent get an offer, questions that you want to make sure your agent asks. Most agents are going to have an even better list of questions, but for indie authors, you can have this one.
Sure. Sounds good.
All right.
All right.
Well, bye guys.